at the same time, there's a great deal of scrutiny that comes with having that last name, a certain expectation.
Why did Jermaine and you break up?
Oh, Ben, I had heard that he was cheating.
Ben, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Seems like Janet Jackson has finally confirmed what fans long suspected. Her relationship with Jermaine Dupri wasn't just toxic, it was built on betrayal.
You worked with a lot of beautiful women before, but what made you say for Janet, this is the exception?
I did.
Behind the scenes, Dupri wasn't just her boyfriend. He was exploiting people, using his power to manipulate young artists like Kriss Kross. And his close ties to Diddy, let's just say, the company he kept says a lot.
Everything happening to Diddy. Were you surprised when you heard about the raid?
Yeah, I was surprised about the raid. I think that it's a foolish act that nothing happens.
Now, with Janet speaking out, the truth about Jermaine Dupri is finally coming to light, and it's uglier than anyone imagined. So let's get into it. Janet Jackson has finally spoken out about the painful truth behind her relationship with Jermaine Dupri. After staying quiet for years, we're now getting a real look at what actually went wrong. What seemed like a perfect romance was really full of problems that eventually tore them apart. Jermaine himself admitted to cheating on Janet and messing around with other women. Meanwhile, Janet was just trying to get a little bit of his time and attention.
I wanted to have a family with him.
But she didn't just decide to leave one day. She was pushed away by betrayals that most people wouldn't be able to forgive. When Janet met Jermaine Dupri in 2002, she was already a huge star. As the youngest of the famous Jackson family, she had already made her own name in music with albums like Control, Rhythm Nation, and Janet. She wasn't just known as Michael Jackson's little sister anymore. Janet had become a powerful name on her own. When she started dating Jermaine Dupri in 2002, the chemistry between them was obvious. It looked like a perfect match, two big names in the music world coming together. Janet was at the top of her game, and Jermaine was behind some of the biggest hits of the time. On red carpets, at music events, and even in interviews, they looked like they were truly in love.
Are you annoyed that people still think of you as Janet Jackson's boyfriend?
No, not really. That's that's an award that nobody else will have.
They were the couple everyone wanted to be. Janet had an unmatched stage presence and legendary performances, and Jermaine had the golden touch in the studio. Their relationship lasted for 7 years and was seen as one of the music industry's most admired love stories. But even though everything looked perfect from the outside, things were falling apart behind closed doors. The truth? Their relationship was weighed down by betrayal, neglect, and totally different lifestyles. Jermaine later admitted to some shocking things about how he acted while with Janet. And one of the biggest problems? He barely gave her any time or attention. Janet's relationship with Jermaine was nothing like the fairy tale people thought it was. So the real question is, what actually went down between Janet Jackson and Jermaine Dupri? In a rare moment of honesty, Jermaine Dupri admitted something that shocked even the most skeptical people in the industry. In Janet Jackson's eye-opening 2022 documentary, Jermaine finally confirmed what many people had been suspecting for years.
Why did it end?
Why did it end?
Yeah.
Probably just me being reckless.
His so-called reckless behavior, as he put it, played a major role in their breakup. But it was why he acted that way that really left everyone stunned. In Janet's 2022 documentary, Jermaine admitted something that sounded more like a confession than an explanation. He said that dating someone like Janet actually brought him more attention from other women. In his own words, one of the weird things is that dating Janet attracts other women. Girls wanted to talk to me more because I was dating her, and I'm a man. That wasn't just a casual comment. It was him admitting that he used his relationship with Janet to get closer to other women. And the worst part? He didn't just think about it, he acted on it.
One of the weird things about dating Janet is that dating Janet attracts other women. Girls wanted to talk to me more because I was dating her, which was really weird.
Janet wasn't in the dark about what was going on. In that same documentary, she opened up about hearing rumors of Jermaine's cheating while they were still together. "I had heard he was cheating," she said, her voice clearly showing the pain that still lingered even after all those years. But the cheating wasn't the only issue. Janet later revealed there were deeper problems, ones that went beyond infidelity, problems that struck at the heart of what a real partnership should be. The man who was supposed to stand by her was breaking her trust in one of the worst ways possible. And for Janet, someone who had already faced a lifetime of public judgment, family pressure, and personal betrayal, this felt like another deep cut.
I didn't want my last name to be on the album. I wanted to go by my first name. I wanted them to accept me for me, to be interested in this for me.
But it didn't stop there. Even when Jermaine wasn't allegedly out with other women, things still weren't right. He wasn't spending that time with Janet either. One of the most painful parts of their relationship was Jermaine's non-stop work habits and how little time he actually gave to her. He was a workaholic, Janet said. He was constantly working. I wouldn't see him for like 3 weeks to a month, and as soon as he'd come back, he'd go to the club. It was like, just carve out a little time for me. And it was hard for him to do. His girlfriend was his work. But what made it even more heartbreaking? It's what happened when he finally did take a break from work. Because instead of being with her, he chose to spend that time elsewhere, leaving Janet feeling like a second thought in her own relationship. Instead of spending his rare free time with Janet, Jermaine chose the nightlife. As soon as he wrapped up work, he'd head straight to the club. Janet recalled this painful pattern, saying, he would come in and then he would go to the club. The image that paints is heartbreaking. Janet Jackson, one of the most admired and iconic women in the world, sitting home alone while her partner chased the energy and temptation of the club scene. What's even more revealing is Janet's quiet, desperate request. I would ask him to carve out a little time for me. She wasn't asking for grand romantic gestures or luxury trips. She just wanted time, something so basic, yet so essential in a relationship. The fact that she had to beg for it speaks volumes about how overlooked and neglected she truly felt. This was Janet Jackson, someone who could command a crowd of thousands with just her presence, but she couldn't get the attention of the one man who was supposed to put her first. Their clashing priorities weren't just about bad time management, they revealed something much deeper, a core incompatibility in how they viewed love and commitment. For Janet, their relationship was supposed to be a central part of both their lives, something to be nurtured and prioritized. But for Jermaine, it seemed like just another item on a long to-do list, and often not even the most important one. That difference in mindset made it nearly impossible for the relationship to survive.
Dated her longer than her marriages, so I have a different relationship with her than damn near probably anybody.
As if infidelity and emotional neglect weren't already enough, Janet and Jermaine also faced another major challenge: geography. They were living thousands of miles apart, and neither one was fully willing to relocate for the other. In a 2020 interview on T.1, quote, "As Expeditiously podcast, Jermaine admitted that where to live became a serious issue between them.
She was willing to come out here for a couple of weeks.
Right.
But living in Atlanta, for her, just didn't really seem like LA.
Janet had built her life in California and wasn't ready to uproot herself. Jermaine, on the other hand, was based in Atlanta and didn't want to move either. This standoff created a strained, unstable dynamic where they were either living apart or one of them was making short-term visits. And for a relationship already battling trust issues and poor communication, the physical distance only made things worse. Even when Jermaine did make time for Janet, that time was often cut short or complicated by travel. And the fact that neither of them was willing to truly compromise on location said a lot about the relationship. It showed that deep down, neither was ready to make the big sacrifices needed to move forward together. Because in a serious relationship, that unwillingness to leave your comfort zone, it often points to an even bigger problem: a lack of full commitment. As public as their romance had been, the end of Janet and Jermaine's relationship was surprisingly quiet. There was no big breakup announcement, no messy social media drama, just a slow, silent drift apart until they confirmed in 2009 that it was officially over. But to really understand why Jermaine's betrayal hurt Janet so deeply, you have to look at everything she had already been through. Jermaine wasn't just another boyfriend who let her down. He was yet another person in a long pattern of heartbreak and disappointment.
I know her better than the dude she married. Like, how you gonna, why I gotta sneak around?
Damn. By the time things fell apart with Jermaine, Janet was already carrying emotional scars from years of broken trust, public pressure, and private pain. His betrayal wasn't just about him. It reopened old wounds that had never fully healed. So we have heard that Diddy's been linked to grooming young stars like Usher and Justin Bieber. So what about Kriss Kross, who was under Jermaine Dupri, one of Diddy's closest collaborators? Their own mother said it. They were used, exploited, and broken by the industry. There are now rumors floating around that he and Jermaine Dupri may have been involved in some shady stuff, especially with young male artists like Kriss Kross. Remember them? Now, people are even wondering if Chris Mac Daddy Kelly's overdose back in 2013 might be connected to things that happened during his time as a child star and under Dupri. In 1991, while hanging out at Lenox Mall in Atlanta, they were discovered by up-and-coming producer Jermaine Dupri. That moment changed everything. Even comedian Cat Williams has spoken up about this. He made some pretty shocking claims, calling out Diddy and Jermaine Dupri. He accused them of using their power to take advantage of young male artists, like the group Kriss Kross.
Jermaine Dupri, king of the pedophiles, if you ask me, baby.
For years, there have been shady rumors about JD's involvement, or at least him turning a blind eye while powerful people like Diddy took advantage of these kids. At one point, JD even clapped back at a fan on IG saying something about a lawsuit from 17 years ago involving Kriss Kross. And apparently they won, but the whole thing got swept under the rug. So apparently Kriss Kross won a lawsuit against Jermaine Dupri, but guess what? It was kept completely under wraps. And when someone called him out about it, JD lost it, straight up cussing people out, saying, "You must be out of your effing mind. I should sue you for writing this disrespectful ST on my page. F outta here." Sounds defensive as hell, doesn't it? And even though there's no official proof, the rumors never died down. Then Cat Williams came in and added fuel to the fire, straight up calling out JD in 2011, along with Diddy and Steve Harvey. Cat even went as far as to label Jermaine the king of peas. Behind all the fame and success Chris Kelly had with Kriss Kross, he was secretly fighting a much darker battle. While fans saw the glitz and glamour, Kelly was dealing with a serious addiction, a struggle that sadly ended his life. According to the authorities, his mother, Donna Kelly Pratt, and his uncle, Lamar Williams, confirmed that Kriss had been battling substance abuse for years. It was something he kept mostly private, but those close to him knew how bad things had gotten. His addiction didn't just affect his health, it also hurt his music career. The pressure, the lifestyle, and the expectations made it hard for him to keep up. Over time, his creativity slowed down, and it became harder for him to meet the demands of fans and the industry. Eventually, the pain he was dealing with on the inside started to show on the outside. As we delve into the tumultuous journey of Chris Kelly, it's crucial to connect the dots between his personal struggles and the unsettling allegations brought to light by Cat Williams.
It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all.
Jermaine Dupri and Sean Diddy Combs weren't just music moguls, they were tight. Industry insiders say these two moved like brothers. Same parties, same artists, same secrets. So it's no surprise that once Bow Wow got big, he suddenly found himself in Diddy's orbit.
I think a lot of us probably never thought that we would see this, but for me, it's like, it's just unreal.
But that's when the energy changed. According to Jermaine himself, on camera, he allowed adult dancers to be around another child star Bow Wow while he was still a minor.
He was about 12.
This is Jermaine Dupri right here.
He couldn't go with me when I go to the club, right? So, dude, them was outside the club, on the street.
There's been talk online and behind the scenes that Kriss Kross was passed around between Jermaine Dupri and Diddy, and not just when it comes to their careers. People are hinting at something much darker. Some industry insiders claim this is part of a bigger pattern where young stars are groomed, used, and passed around by powerful people. Kriss Kross, being young and trusting of the people guiding them, may have been easy targets.
So you can't go completely crazy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you still gotta, you know what I mean? If you got a bunch of parents buying tickets to your concerts, then you can't be on your video smoking. If that's what you want to do at 15, then cool.
Chris Kelly's struggles with addiction were known, but his tragic story shows just how serious things got and how much it took a toll on his health. And yeah, some folks believe Diddy might have had something to do with it. There are rumors that Diddy may have introduced Jermaine Dupri to, or at the very least, didn't step in to stop it. Word is, he looked the other way and let that kind of thing slide, especially at parties. Most people have heard the rumors about Diddy possibly manipulating young stars like Usher and Justin Bieber. And now, with Diddy facing serious legal trouble, Usher's name is back in the mix, and people are really starting to question things. Usher and Diddy go way back. When Usher was just 13, he left Atlanta and moved to New York to live with Diddy, who was supposedly acting as his legal guardian. That's when things started moving fast. Diddy put Usher through what he called the Puffy Flavor Camp, basically a crash course in the music industry. But it wasn't just about learning music. There were wild parties, adult situations, and a whole lifestyle most kids would never experience. In a 2004 Rolling Stone interview, Usher admitted Diddy exposed him to a totally different set of stuff. Later on the Howard Stern show, he opened up a little more about how crazy those parties were. Even then, Usher seemed cautious with his words, hinting at how wild things really got without spilling all the details.
Moved to New York City. and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
Diddy brought young Usher into his world of lavish parties and flashy gatherings, hoping to toughen up the teen's image and give him that edgy star power. In a 2011 interview, Usher looked back on that time and shared how Diddy really wanted him to lean into a bolder, more streetwise vibe. While that first album didn't blow up right away, Usher admitted the experience was a major stepping stone. It didn't just shape his image, it helped lay the foundation for what turned into a powerhouse 18-year and counting career. He said, "I wanted to drop him. I wanted to be out of business with him. I broke his heart. I broke his mother's heart. It was a very tough period in both our lives." He added, "Then someone said to me, don't be a fool. Don't sell your stock in Usher. He's still going to be a star. He's everything you thought he was the day you signed him." And that person was Diddy. So this narrative suggests that Dupri may also have introduced Kriss to the D with the help of Diddy, and this seems to be supported by much evidence. And then there is another example of Dupri where he proved to be harmful. Bow Wow wasn't just a young rapper. He was the child star of the early 2000s. With hits like Bounce With Me and Bow Wow, That's My Name, the kid was everywhere. But behind the flashy videos, sold-out tours, and so-so def chains, there was one man orchestrating it all, Jermaine Dupri. But that's when the energy changed. According to Jermaine himself, on camera, he allowed adult dancers to be around Bow Wow while he was still a minor.
He was about 12.
This
11,
is
12.
Jermaine Dupri right here.
He couldn't go with me when I go to the club, right? So, dude, them was outside the club, on the street.
Bow Wow recently faced backlash for supporting Diddy. "I never thought I would see it like this," the rapper recently said during a guest appearance on the More to the Story podcast with Roxy Diaz. He's like the gatekeeper to the game, to the point to where BET Award weekend, like the past two, it just didn't feel right because there was no motion, there was no parties. While he didn't mention Combs' freak-off parties, Bow Wow continued, "It's like a hole. He was just such a gatekeeper for the liquor and the clubs. He was everything hip-hop. So for that to die out, you just really never thought, especially when you look at somebody as somebody you studied, somebody you idolized." Bow Wow's comments about missing Sean Diddy Combs' legendary parties during a chat on the More to the Story podcast have sparked a social media frenzy. The rapper faced a backlash after reminiscing about Diddy's after parties and the fact that they've stopped happening.
Like BET Award weekend, it didn't, like the past two, they just didn't feel right. Because there was no motion, there was no parties. There was nowhere to go.
However, things got tense in 2022 when Diddy was spotted with Bow Wow's ex and the mother of his child, Joey Chavis, according to Distractify. After photos of the bad boy mogul and Chavis' mother to Bow's oldest child, Shay leaked back in September 2021, the former So-So Def artist revealed he felt Joey knew better. He also admitted that he spoke to both parties separately about the ordeal. "Me and her, we had our discussion about it, trust me," he explained. "Me and dude, we definitely had our rep, but I'll keep that between us. We handled it the way we was supposed to handle it. There's a conduct and code men go by, and everyone knows certain things are off limits. Wives and baby mamas is just some S that, you steer clear from." So when Bow Wow transitioned from Dupri's watch to Diddy's world, many believe it wasn't just a business move. It was a handoff. One man prepped the kid, the other exploited him, and that's the part nobody wants to talk about. A lot of people have been whispering about for years. JD's so-called mentorship came at a serious cost. Bow Wow was turned into a child star, but behind the scenes, his life was nothing like what people thought. We're talking about wild parties, fast living, and a 12-year-old Bow Wow being pushed into the adult nightlife scene, something he says messed him up for life.
But I get so mad when people be like, I'll see shit and they're like, but he created him. I'm like, no, nigga, he created Kriss Kross. Them niggas was in the mall walking around not knowing how to rap. He created them niggas.
So there are a lot of reasons for Janet to escape from the relationship, and it seems like that being with Jermaine was really taking a toll on her. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.